Thank you for tuning in to Lynn Community Television's forum with the candidates running for Southern Essex District's Register of Deeds. Featuring candidates John O'Brien and Jonathan Ring.
Tonight, we will hear from the candidates running for the position of Southern Essex County Register of Deeds. The registry covers dozens of communities in the Southern Essex District and records real estate transactions. There are 3 candidates running for the position of Register of Deeds in this election: David Colpitts, who declined to participate, John O'Brien, and Jonathan Ring, who are here. The questions that will be asked tonight were developed and approved by the LCTV staff. The timekeeper will be LCTV staff member Richard Coppinger, and we ask that all candidates respect the timekeeping rules. The rules are as follows. We will go in alphabetical order for each response. John O'Brien will be the first to respond, followed by Jonathan Ring, and so on. Candidates will be allowed 2 minutes to answer. No extra time will be allotted to respond to a previous answer. If a candidate would like to respond to other candidates' answer, they must do so only within their allotted time. The timekeeper will hold a yellow card when 30 seconds remain and a red card when 10 seconds remain. If candidates go over the time, the moderator will interrupt and cut off the candidate. Each candidate will also be allotted a 1.5-minute introductory statement and 2-minute closing statement. And with that, we're going to start with the opening statements.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Ms. McCullough. I really appreciate being here at this forum. Thank you to the Lynn Cable TV studio for having us. My name is Jonathan Ring. I'm running for Register of Deeds for Essex County South. I believe strongly that your deed is your most valuable asset, and I want to make sure that our Registry of Deeds is doing everything it can to protect that asset and providing the customer service to the homeowners, taxpayers, and users of the registry. And one of the things that I hope to focus on is making sure that customer service comes first and not politics, enhancing the Property Fraud Watch program, and also making sure that this office is, that I will be term limiting myself for this office. I really appreciate you listening to both of our viewpoints today, and I would encourage you to go to my website, jonathanring.org. That's www.jonathanring.org to learn more. Thank you.
Hello. First of all, let me thank Lynn Cam. When I proposed these forums for the candidates seeking this office, Lynn Cam was the first to jump on right away, and I appreciate that. I would wish that all of the candidates for this office were here, because I truly believe that people should hear from everyone running for office. That being said, no elected official is entitled to their position. You have to earn it. And I believe that my record of accomplishments of exposing the Wall Street banks, refusing to record robo-signed signatures, providing excellent customer service, merits your support on Tuesday, Election Day. I also believe that at the end of this evening, you're going to be able to have a choice of who you would rather have protect the integrity and the accuracy of your land records. And with that said, I'm ready to go and listen to the questions and answers and let you know what I have done. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for those opening statements. And with that, we will start with our first question. Question number 1. How do you plan on working with the dozens of communities you will be serving? John first.
We work with all of the communities every single day. Our registry is perhaps an outreach center. We work with building departments, fire departments, police departments, assessors, Board of Appeals, planning boards, no matter what. We have tremendous customer service. When you walk into our building, you'll see a sign. It's unheard of. How may we help you? And we mean it every single day. We provide one of the first things that we do is we have an abandoned property search. When the foreclosure crisis hit, it devastated neighborhoods when the banks abandoned buildings and walked away from their responsibilities. We provide local agencies with actually who owns those buildings. We reach out, we go to co-owners, we go to town meetings, we had assessors meetings. The Salem Registry of Deeds has been a leader in so many ways. And in dealing with local communities, we're second to none.
Thank you. I think it starts with listening and understanding the communities and being involved in the communities. Homeownership is one of the most important things to our communities, and it is very valuable to our communities. First, I'm going to continue the programs by the Registry of Deeds, the Homestead Protection Act seminars, the Property Fraud Watch program seminars, also seeking to enhance the Property Fraud Watch program to make it more secure. As a member of the, I've been involved in my community for quite a long time. I've been on the Rockport Historical District Commission, Board of Registrars of Voters in Rockport, and currently I serve on the Rockport Housing Authority, and I'm chair of that authority right now. And I bring my community background, my community experience to bear in this race as for Register of Deeds, and I'm going to continue to outreach to all the communities to make sure that the Property Fraud Watch alert program is in place in all community levels. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for those responses. So we go on to question number 2, and this one we'll start with Jonathan. Mm-hmm. What do you think are the merits of continuing to have the Register of Deeds be an elected position rather than an appointed position?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one of the merits, of course, is this race, obviously, but it only works when you have competition, that people are becoming more educated about what the Registry of Deeds does. I can't tell you how many voters I've spoken with that ask a very good question, registry of what? And I tell them, Registry of Deeds. It's your land recording office. It records your land transactions and your transfers. And then once you tell them that, they say, oh yeah, I get it. So, however, that is a benefit, but I think the detriment of having this as an elected office is that unfortunately it's become probably too politicized, and it's too much of a political office, and we need to steer away from that. Mainly one of the differences I have with my opponent, as far as the political aspects of it go, is the fact that he spent a lot of time campaigning against robo-signers, MERS, and not defending robo-signers and MERS. That's not the point. But the point is, with his campaigning, saying they owe over $22 million, even counting more, in fees, going to Atlanta for a registers conference to show the robo-signers, campaign against mortgage companies. My question is, how much revenue has been obtained to the Registry of Deeds as a result of that? And you'll find that all of his efforts, and yet we've gotten $0, from that, and yet he's paid about over $130,000 a year in order to manage this registry. So we do need to get away from the politicizing of this office. Thank you.
My position is this is my last time running, so it's inconsequential whether it's elected or not. But I truly believe that it should stay an elected job. And the reason for that is I personally believe that any time you take the public's right away from electing people to represent them, you do a tremendous disservice. Let me explain. We'll get into this a little later. On computerization at the registry, we're going to have a standardized system called the Commonwealth system. It's going to start rolling out next year. If the Registry of Deeds is under pencil pushers and bureaucrats in Boston, I can assure you that the first thing they will implement is to charge people to print copies in their homes of their deeds. I will fight that every single day. You have to be accountable to people. The last thing that you want to do is abolish this elected position. They will turn it in, quite frankly, to the Registry of Motor Vehicles. It will be a nightmare. I can guarantee that. You elect people, you can, if you don't like the job I'm doing, you can defeat me at the next election. You can't do that if you have Boston bureaucrats running the show. They will mandate and dictate what they want to do. As far as political actions in the registry, if being political was exposing the banks and stopping to record fraud, then I'm proud of that. Because I will ask you something. This here, 22 signatures of notorious Linda Green, the robo-signer. We have 250 of these people that I refuse, the only register in the United States. I will not refuse fraud. I will refuse to record fraud. Will you? Would you record this?
I'm going to follow the statutory requirements of the state, not go beyond the boundaries of my office. You know, so if as long as something is in properly recorded order, the problem is that you expose the Registry of Deeds to litigation when you go beyond the boundaries of your office. We
were never litigated. No judge, nobody ever stopped me from forcing me to record fraud. I won't do it. You just heard it. This is the difference. The job is to protect the integrity and the accuracy of the land recording system. That's the scope of your job. When you take an oath, you take an oath to uphold the law. And one of them is the forgery statute. And these are forgery signatures, and I will not record them.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for those responses and those thoughts. We got to move on to our third question. This question, we'll start off with John.
Yes.
So, if elected as Register of Deeds, what are some goals that you pledge to set for yourself?
The biggest goal coming up in the next year is the redesign of the registry. I have tried for 7 years to reduce our space. We have 40,000 square feet right now. We're going to be cutting it down to approximately 16,500 square feet. It's going to be amazing what we're doing. In the design process, we're going to also maintain the hard copy books in our building because we house the oldest continuous land records in this country, and they have a tremendous historical value. And as well as we have been the leader in digitizing records, I still believe in paper copies. So whoever takes this job in November is going to have to hit the ground running on the design of that registry, because it's going to do a couple of things. It's going to modernize the office, make it more efficient. We're going to have an eye towards expansion, and we're also going to have an eye towards reduction. And this is very important because people have to realize that even down the road, with the advances that we make in computerization far above other registries, we visualize the day when we will even need less space. So whoever gets in, they have to focus on this. The other thing is changing with the new laws, e-recording, e-closings, the standardization proceedings, all of the laws that we generate every single day and work with. You have to be aware of those. You have to be on top of them. One thing my staff does, and it's the staff over there, it's the team, that it makes me so proud. They challenge themselves every single day as to what we can do to make the registry work better for our customer base and for the public. And staying in our present location, not spending $50 million to move into a courthouse and take away public parking is something that I am adamant about. I want to stay where we are, and I want to continue to provide people with free public parking.
Jonathan?
Well, my vision in general is basically to focus on customer service and depoliticize the office of the registry. And that starts with making sure that registry employees cannot donate to the register candidate, and working with the legislature on that. And I say this because it needs to be able to remove the temptation of the register from using his government offices, resources, HR files, and resumes, as my opponent did, from soliciting their employees. And going back, but making sure to preserve the public record while enhancing e-filing as well, and in enhancing the fraud alert protection program. But I do agree that we do have to keep pace with the modernization of technology. We need to make sure that the customer service computers that are there are continuing to be updated, and that we update our systems, and that we stay connected to the land mass records as well. And just continuing to stay focused on customer service as well. And by the way, I did, on another note, I did receive your letter regarding that headline in the Boston Broadside regarding your diagnosis of dementia. And I put out a statement there condemning that it's not an issue that should be pertaining to this race. That we've got to stay focused on the issues and on the vision for the registry.
Can I respond to that for a second? I appreciate that, Jonathan. I had hoped that you would have done it on your own without my prodding, that you would have condemned that back in June, because the fact that I've been diagnosed with this illness does not belong in this campaign from anybody. And I know what social media and Facebook can do. I'm perfectly fine. I'm probably the only public official in the country that acknowledged that, look, I have a disability. I have something wrong with me. But I'm functioning, I'm at the registry every single day, and I'm doing my job. And I brought this out because I felt that my bosses, the people that elect me, have a right to know what's going on with me. And if I did not think I could do my job, I never would have run for re-election. I wouldn't embarrass myself, I wouldn't embarrass my family, and I certainly wouldn't embarrass the voters of Essex County. This is an issue that is under the surface right now on Facebook and social media, and people are trying to make it an issue, and it isn't an issue. In fact, when you were on Beverly Cam, and you were asked the question by the host as to whether or not I should retire, and I have it on tape, because of my illness, you said, I do. So I'm glad that you've changed your opinion on that.
Well, I do believe a lot of voters, it's not an issue for me, but a lot of voters are concerned about your health, or they're concerned about the health of any public employee or elected official that's running a major office, because you are running a $2.85 million office of the Registry of Deeds. So I think a lot of people talk about it in that headline was because people are concerned about the issue.
Yeah. Right,
for me, I'm focused.
Sorry,
For me, I'm focused on running on other issues for the registry. But I think, if it helps at the end of this election cycle, I'll help you retire.
All right, guys, we got to move on to the next question.
It's meant to be a
Can we respond to this in a moment or so?
We passed the time for the response. That's why. So we got to move on to the fourth question. And this question is we'll start with Jonathan.
Yes.
So, what is the most significant challenge you see for yourself?
Well, the most significant, well, first of all, that was just a good-hearted nature, helping you retire by, it's a good
Jonathan,
competition.
if I can just jump in here,
Sure.
and I'll give up my time and everything else. I'm going to make something clear. Lewy body dementia and Parkinson's is a national epidemic.
It is.
And when a headline comes out in the newspaper that says, you are running against a dementia-diagnosed Democrat, that shames people. It shames people from coming out who may have this disease or may have the beginning of it. And one of the things that I have done across this country, I've worked with the National Brain Association and everyone else, this has to be said, please. I encourage people that if you have any symptoms, go to your doctor. And you know why? Because there are certain prescription drugs and certain over-the-counter drugs that can be devastating and perhaps even kill people. There's no shame in having a neurological disorder. There's no shame, and trust me, that paper is rag, the Boston Broadside. You're in it all the time. And I'm angry at that paper. And I'm angry at that paper because they tried to make fun of people who have a disability. And that doesn't belong in our society. It doesn't belong in our political world. It's wrong and it should be condemned, and you should have condemned it for day one. You did it after I prodded you. Fine. You said in the show that I should retire because of my illness. There's absolutely nothing wrong with me. Spend 2 days with me. Spend 3 days with me. You will see what I do every single day in my job. And I want to tell you one other thing. If I had cancer or I had heart issues, you think that headline would have read dementia, a cancer diagnosed Democrat? Of course it wouldn't. They wanted to make fun of people. Well, guess what? There isn't a person in this country or in this city or in my district that doesn't have a family member or a friend or somebody they know that has a neurological disorder. And it has no place in politics. You don't like the way I record deeds?
All
you don't
John.
like the fact that I shut down banks?
All right, John,
don't vote for me.
Time permitting, we got to keep on schedule.
I actually never said
Jonathan,
you should.
we got to keep up. We got to stay on schedule with,
Sure,
with
yeah.
our time. We only have about an hour. Actually, we got to take a break.
Okay.
We got to take a break. We're going to take a break. We're going to show you our election PSA video. We're going to come back. We're going to finish this up.
All right.
You know, this is going well so far. So here's the LCTV's election PSA video.
Hi, I'm Janet Rowe, the City Clerk and Chief of Elections here in the City of Lynn. And I have a few things that I want to go over with you about the state election on November 6th. The first thing I want to tell you about is early voting. We are going to be having early voting for 2 weeks before Election Day on November 6th. It will begin on Monday, October 22nd, and run through Friday, November 2nd. The voting will take place during regular City Hall business hours, which are 8:30 to 4 p.m. On Tuesdays, we're open till 8 at night, and Fridays we close at 12:30. So you'll be able to come in anytime during those 2 weeks, during those hours, to cast your ballot for the November 6th election. We're going to be checking people in right outside of the election door, which is room 203, and we're going to have people go into the rear of the auditorium. If you have not been to the auditorium, it's a beautiful space. It's private, it's quiet, and we figure if we set the voting booths up there, it would be a nice transition to check in and just go right out the side door, which will bring you to the lobby. So we're hoping that that's going to be a smooth operation, and there'll be no lines and no waiting. So we're hoping that you'll join us for those 2 weeks before the election day. The second thing that I want to talk about is voting by absentee ballot. The absentee ballots are in right now, so if you'd like to come in and vote, please come down and do so. If for any reason you're not going to be able to make it to early voting or you cannot make it on November 6th, please come down and cast your ballot by absentee ballot. You can also request it by mail by downloading the application from the website. Calling us, we'll send you the application. As soon as we get your signature back on that, we'll send the ballot right out to you. It only costs 68 cents for you to mail it back to us, and it's just another option for you to vote. And the final thing I'd like to talk about is the city website. We have some great information about every department in the city, but I'd like you to be able to go on there and check off Chief of Elections, go to voter registration. You'll be able to put your name and address in there, and it will come up with your political party, whether you're an active voter. You'll also see the ballot. And it's a good idea to read through the ballot to know who's running for office. It's also a great idea to check out the questions because there are 3 of them and they're lengthy. So if you at least can read them all and be prepared before you get out to vote, it'll save you some time and save us time. So if you don't have access to a computer, please call our office. We have election specialists here, Karen and Mary, who are ready, willing, and able to answer any questions you might have. You can change your address over the phone, you can find out your political party, and also where you are supposed to vote. So I hope that I've given you some options on voting this year, whether it be by absentee ballot or joining us down here at City Hall for 2 weeks to vote, or making your way out to your polling location on November 6th. So I thank you so much for listening, and please don't forget to vote. Thank you.
And we are back, just finishing our second half of this great debate. The first half of great conversations was happening. Now we're just going to continue with that. We're on to question number 5, and this question will start off with John. How will you make the registry more accessible, meaningful, and transparent to the public?
We were the first to digitize and go public 24 hours a day with copies of deeds and records and plans. We led the way across the country, and for that we won a Smithsonian Award. And the fact that we won it 20 years ago is very telling. We led the way then, and we lead the way today. We're continually modernizing and being transparent, letting people know exactly what's going on. We have seminars at least 2 to 3 times a week all over this county to let people know what it is we do and how we can help them. I think the fact that we've done those things, I think the fact that we have led the way across this country. You know, Registry of Deeds, as my opponent has said, is a very sleepy office. It's something that a lot of people don't know about. We've certainly opened the doors and the windows to the place and let people know. I have done this since the day I got elected. And there's so many wonderful things coming down the road. I have young kids who are working for me over there that are phenomenal. They come up with new, innovative approaches. There's things that we haven't even thought of, but we will do it. We were the first to electronically record and make the module for registered land, which was told, oh, that can't be done. Well, guess what? We did it. We went online 24 hours a day, free of charge. You can look at your deed. We have a property fraud watch program that is phenomenal. It will protect you that if anything is recorded on your property, you will be able to get an email that evening and see it so that you'll be able to ascertain whether or not it's legitimate. And if you don't have a computer, you call us. You give us your name and number, and we'll call you and tell you what that document says, because a lot of senior citizens and people don't have computers. We have a disclaimer on it. Everyone has a disclaimer. The FBI has a disclaimer. UPS, that Jonathan works for, has a disclaimer. That has nothing to do with anything. All I can tell you is that there isn't a more transparent registry and register in the country than I am. Just the mere fact that I came out and told people what was wrong with me certainly shows my commitment to transparency.
Jonathan?
Yeah, so first of all, let me correct a record here. I never said that my opponent should retire because of his illness. That was other people's opinions. My opinion is he should retire because he violated campaign ethics laws and misused his office to retrieve information about his employees to solicit them for campaign donations. This was completely a misuse of the public trust. And that's why he should retire, and that's why I'm in this race as well, because I want to make this depoliticize this office as much as possible, make it friendly to the customers, to the taxpayers, and make it one of the best registries that it can be. As far as, I don't disagree with the rest of what he said, and also I intend to become an active member of the Registry of Deeds Association in Massachusetts to try to promote transparency there as well.
If I could respond, yes. First of all, I was sent an education letter by a disgruntled employee who made an accusation. I am not a public official that has fundraisers every 2, 3, 4 times a year. I had a fundraiser in 2011 and one in 2016. I have the addresses of all my employees, just as you do of your employees at UPS. Your bosses have them. That's what we do. Everybody who works for me, I hire them, I know them. I was sent an education letter. I was not charged with any ethics violations, nor did I pay any fines. This is nonsense in plain English. And that's not something that should even be in this campaign. It is really something that when you don't have issues, you throw mud. And secondly, I have him on tape on a cable show where he said, I do, when asked if I should retire because of my illness. It's on tape. You said it. No question about it. So all I can tell you is I've done my job. I've done it well. I'm proud of everything I've done over there, and I'm proud to be the Register of Deeds of this county.
Oh, you weren't sent an education letter from a disgruntled employee. It was from OCPF, and you agreed to their findings that you violated conflicts of interest laws.
First of all, if I can just respond to that. I was sent a letter from the State Ethics Commission, not from OCPF. Don't be the candidate of I make things up. Get the facts right, please. And the facts are very simple. I met with them. They told me, they said, look, we're going to send you an education letter. Don't do it again. I send no letters. I don't ask my employees for contributions. Do I agree with it? No, I don't. Other registers of deeds accept contributions from their employees, from PACs, from banks, from everybody else. And that's fine. My employees should have every single right in the world, if they believe in me, to send me a $50 check to a fundraiser every 5 years. But because of this nonsense that we have to go through in today's world, when we throw mud like this and try to create an issue that doesn't exist, those people can't exercise their right as an American citizen. They have to be told, no, you can't contribute. But the PACs can, the banks can, former Registry of Deeds employees who worked for me can contribute to you. But some poor woman or man in my building that believes in me and works in the team, they can't contribute. Makes no sense to me, but guess what? I'm not accepting it. I will not accept any contributions from them. That's the end of the story. And I hope we put that to bed today.
All right, we'll put that to bed. We'll move on to question number 7. This question will be for you, John. We'll start with you.
Sure.
With ever-evolving technology, do you believe that the registry has kept up and is easily accessible to the public? Why or why not?
I'm not so sure because a lot of the computers that are used in the registry by people that I know that do business with them say that the ones that are connected to the mass land records don't work very well for them. We definitely need to make sure that the registry is the database that you use for the Registry of Deeds in Salem is connected to all the registries for people to use.
John?
First of all, as I said earlier, this registry, and I'm so proud of it, proudest moment, and I've been in politics for a number of years, started as a Lynn City Councilor. The proudest moment I had was when I was at the Reagan dinner the night before, and then the next day standing on the steps of the Smithsonian accepting the award, not on my behalf, but on behalf of the employees and behalf of the people in Essex County when we won, and we're still the only registry of deeds in the country that did that has won a Smithsonian award. We have led the way in technology. I want to explain something. There are 3 systems in Massachusetts: Brown Tech, ACS, Mass Land Records, and the Salem system. We developed the Salem system in-house. That engine of that system is the model for what is going to be called the new Commonwealth system, which all 12 state registries will eventually absorb into one main system. Mass Land Records is just the name of a search. If you go on my website, you can go on Mass Land Records and search anything you want from any registry you want. But try it. Try Brown Tech, and then try the Salem system. People who use our office every single day will tell you it is the gold standard. It is the gold standard. It is going to be used as a model by the Secretary of State's office. It's your system, not mine. We should all be proud of this. We should be proud that our system is the one that's going to be chosen. There'll be modifications to it, of course there will. But we're fighting every single day to come up with new ways to make innovative programs to help people. And believe me, we led the way back 20 years ago with the Smithsonian, and we lead today, and we're going to lead into the future. We just don't sit there and grab a paycheck and sit there and say, okay, I'm the Register of Deeds. We work the job, we do the job, and we do it every single day.
Fellas, we've come to our last question. You see how fast this went? All right, it's question number 8, last and final question. Last year, talks began of moving the Registry of Deeds to the former Salem Superior Court building. What do you think of this potential move? John, we're going to start with you.
I objected to it from day one. When we were evicted from that building over there, the old registry, we ended up going out for process for bids. We had 2 bids, one for downtown in a telephone company building that was $300,000 a year more in rent, all going to Shetland Park. We moved to Shetland Park because we paid $16.50 a square foot, net. Everything's covered. We have 40,000 square feet. For 7 years, I have been trying to cut it in half. my requests have fallen on deaf ears, the bureaucrats that I discussed earlier. When they came with this proposal, the cost to renovate that building to put me in it was $50 million. The state hired not one, not two, but 3 outside consultants who all came to the conclusion that putting us in that building made no logistical sense, it made no financial sense. But it also did one other thing. It took away free public parking. Now understand, boys in Boston don't care about you having a parking space. I do. Come to Salem. You can park, you can go in the registry and do your business. And the people in Boston that make these decisions, they all have private parking spaces in the state office building parking garage. So they don't understand the real world. I get it. I fought this, and we've won. Believe it or not, Representative Tucker and Senator Lovely came up with a perfect piece of compromise legislation. As a former city councilor, I understand local communities better than anyone. They want that building back on the tax rolls, and they're in the process now of the Redevelopment Authority of going out and seeking proposals for that building. And if a developer wants to make a proposal to move us in it, they can, but they won't, for 2 reasons. One, it makes absolutely no sense from a development standpoint. And number 2, the cost to do that would be so astronomical that our rent would quadruple overnight. I'm fighting to stay where I am, and I'm going to continue to fight where I am.
Well, actually, I don't disagree with John on this one. I think that we do have a point of agreement on it, and I think that I want to work with all the representatives, work with the Secretary of State, see what the customers want, but I think it's the location is a pretty ideal location for customers and users. We just want to make sure that there's cost savings and that continue with cost savings. So I can't say that if there's any point of agreement we have tonight, it'll probably be this.
Good.
All right, thank you guys. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back with the closing statements from each candidate. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Welcome to Lynn Community Television, your local media center. Here, we have great resources and staff to help create your own content.
Hi, I'm Jim Carrigan, host of The American Dream. I'm also a member of Lynn Community TV, and I want to encourage everybody out there who's not a member of Lynn Community TV to join the group. We have a lot of fun down here. The studio is new and it's in fabulous condition.
Things provided to our members are state-of-the-art studio, video and audio equipment, editing space, and a full-on training session with a staff member.
I've been involved in access television for over 20 years. Our shows have gone out to tens of thousands of people in local communities and millions throughout the world. Come on down, learn how to use the equipment to promote whatever it is you're doing.
For more information, please visit our website at www.lyntv.org, give us a call, or come on down to the station at 181 Union Street in Lynn.
Thank you for tuning in to Lynn Community Television's forum with the candidates running for Southern Essex District's Register of Deeds. Featuring candidates John O'Brien and Jonathan Ring.
All right, welcome back, and it's time for our closing statements from each candidate, and we're going to give the floor to John O'Brien first.
Thank you very much. You know, I love the city of Lynn. I started my career as a Lynn City Councilor. I ran when I was 19 years old, and the people in the city and in the viewing audience have been so supportive of me over the years. This is my last time that I'll be on the ballot November 6th. I believe that my record of accomplishments at the registry are something that you should give a strong consideration to voting for me on that particular election day. I do my job, I do it well. Nobody will fight harder than I have and that I will to protect the integrity and the accuracy of land records. That's why I'm the steward. You made me the steward of the oldest continuous land records in the United States of America. And I take that job very seriously. And I do my job every day, and I do it well. And I appreciate everything that my staff does. I'm so pleased with everything we do every single day. The customer service, we receive hundreds, and I mean this, we have them in files, of emails, telephone calls, personal messages from people that can't believe the service they get. When we say, how may we help you, we mean it. So in closing, I hope that you will consider me for re-election on November 6th. I will continue to provide you with the best service possible. Thank you very much for your support, and thank you for your friendship and your kindnesses to me over the years.
Great. Jonathan?
Thank you once again for having me here, and thank you, John, for being here. My name is Jonathan Ring, candidate for Register of Deeds. You can find out more about my candidacy on www.jonathanring.org. I'm a lifelong North Shore resident, lifelong Rockport resident. I have a history of giving back to my community. I served on the Historical District Commission of my town. I served as a member of the Board of Registrars of Voters, and I currently serve as a Rockport Housing Authority board member. I'm fighting every day for the values of our homes, for homeowners' rights and tenants' rights. And I believe strongly in making this registry one of the best customer service agencies that it can be for taxpayers, customers, homeowners, voters, everyone. I'm going to focus on depoliticizing this office as much as possible, enhancing our e-filing system, enhancing our fraud watch program, and I will term limit myself for this office for 2 terms. I would appreciate your vote on Tuesday, November 6th, and I encourage everybody to get out there and vote regardless of who you vote for. Thank you very much, and I hope that you have a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you. God bless you.
Gentlemen, for those words. This concludes LCTV's Candidate Forum. Be sure to go out and vote on November 6th. You can visit wheredoivotema.com to find out where to vote. And remember, early voting is also available at City Hall from Monday, October 22nd through Friday, November 2nd. That's all for tonight. I've been your host, Mukala Kabongo. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen.